It has been raining for a few days now as I record this. With rain comes two things I really love as a landscape photographer. Some of my best shots have at least a hint of fog or mist in them. Fog can create interesting shapes, can dramatize a rather boring shot, and at the same time simplify it by removing unnecessary clutter. Man, I love foggy, misty conditions. In the hills, at least. Well, hoping for similar conditions, I planned a little tour to a beautiful isolated patch of forest around 20-25 kilometers away from my home. I called up a few friends, I checked the weather forecast to make sure it would be raining or overcast at least. Yeah, it was sunny. Well, I still decided to go. There were some time constraints, explanation is not necessary. Enter the second thing I love about rain. Well, the place I went to has this beautiful temple called Pinsar Mahadev. But that's not why I was there. I'm more interested in the woods to the north. I've been here before in the past and got some good shots. So, hoping for the best, I filmed, walked, and jumped my way until I found this beautiful spot. I set up my tripod and camera, and the composition is simple enough. A path leading up and beautiful trees around. However, the light is absolutely gorgeous. Usually sun and woods don't go together, it's just messy. But sometimes you get lucky. Just one problem though. Technical stuff starting, uninterested people can skip to the next timestamp. There is this thing called dynamic range in the world of photography. For cameras, it means the range of luminances, the brightness and darkness levels a camera sensor can handle in a shot. When you take a photograph that has really bright things and really dark things in a single shot, your camera struggles to capture all that detail. And needless to say, this scene has more dynamic range than my camera can handle. Solution? A rather old, tried and tested trick called HDR. It stands for high dynamic range. You take two or more shots identical to each other in every aspect except exposure. In processing, you will merge these images and use good portions of each shot. So I took 3 shots at different exposures for HDR merging. Time to head back home. Well, here I have loaded pictures of my camera to my computer and I'll process these further on Photoshop. You can also use Lightroom or GIMP. The basic principle is the same. So here we are in Photoshop. What I have to do is go to File, Automate, Merge to HDR Pro. Then I'll just select my raw files and I'll add them in. Now I just have to wait for a few seconds and here it is. This might look very flat and bland but has the required image data, both in shadows and highlights. In HDR Pro window, I'll use the 32-bit mode because it can handle the dynamic range in the scene quite a lot better than 16 bits or 8 bits. I want to set the white point manually and I'm done. Now I'll convert the image back to 16 bits with a few tweaks so that I can further work with it. I think the rest of processing is one's own imagination, so I'm going to skip it. This is not a tutorial video. But in summary, all I did was some color correction, a bit of exposure tweaking, a bit of clarity and texture reduced, and we have our final image. If you like this video, I would highly recommend you to watch this video. It shows the landscape, music and culture of the region I live and work in. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.